Hello and welcome to another episode of Kitchen Conversation with James and Rama. My name is James and I am joined by Rama. Say hi.
Hello. Ooh.
Rama, on this episode of Kitchen Conversation, we're going to be talking about nutrition. Now, what's your experience with nutrition?
As I mentioned to you before we started recording, I did one university unit in nutrition called Introduction to Nutrition. So that was literally the bare bones basic of nutrition, but I actually learned a lot. This is what we thought, look, at the moment, probably joining with me about 1.6 billion Muslims around the world are doing the fast at the moment because it's the month of Ramadan. So I think nutrition come into play heavily in terms of, because as you know, we can only eat before sunrise and then after sunset. So how do you keep yourself going during the day? James, thoughts?
Yep. So, I thought it'd be a great topic to talk about because about 3 or 4, 5, 6 weeks ago maybe now, I saw a nutritionist as well. I'd been doing intermittent fasting for about a year with COVID happening and sitting on my bottom and not doing as much exercise. So I thought that'd be an interesting way of restricting my calories. So I was actually doing a 16 hours of fasting with about an 8-hour eating window, breaking my fast about midday each day and trying to finish off dinner by 8 p.m., which is really interesting, and had a robust conversation with the nutritionist about how that is not necessarily a healthy thing to do long term, that if your body can take the food in, you should probably feed it and space out. And I was like, because it actually places undue stress on your system to be like, it's almost as if the kind of hunter-gatherer mentality of you're waiting for your next meal that you've got to hunt down. But when you're doing that day after day and you've got Woolworths or Coles readily available, you're putting unnecessary stress on your body and that has an impact. And there's, I don't know what the longitudinal studies are or the scientific studies. So I couldn't put them in the show notes because I don't know what they are, but I was told that there's studies out there that say you can have some benefits over maybe up to 6 weeks from intermittent fasting, but you're actually probably doing damage to yourself and having a negative impact if you do it long term. So that was something that was a good reminder and good to get into some healthy habits. So I've started eating breakfast again with my coffee instead of just having coffee.
Oh, there you go. Like I said, for us, the mandatory fasting is only for 30 days during the month of Ramadan, and that changes as the year go on, because the Islamic calendar is about 11 days shorter than the regular calendar. So we, at the moment, it's in April, May, so it's relatively easy. It's winter. And I guess that's, I don't know. I don't know whether it's by coincidence, but again, we only told to do it for 30 days. You can imagine that kind of fits with your nutritionist, a scientist's view on how long you should be doing this for. So that works, I guess. And also, there is a voluntary fast that we do throughout the year, but that's only 2 days a week. So it's not a everyday kind of thing. And again, that's voluntary. So it means that you don't, most people don't even do it every single week in, week out. So I think the key thing is, as the nutritionist said, is to make sure it's all about the composition and also the volume, right? Because as I learned in my very basic Introduction to Nutrition course, that your body can store certain vitamins and minerals, and then it cannot store other vitamins and minerals. It will just expel it as soon as it's got enough of what it needed.
Yeah.
From memory, don't quote me on this because I feel like it's wrong, but I think it's vitamin A and vitamin A and B or something like that we can't store in our body. So any excess just gets expelled.
And just to insert a disclaimer here, neither Rama or I are nutritionists. We're just two guys who talk about eating food, and we're two guys that like eating quite a lot.
Quite a lot. And then I think, like I said, the key really is all about the balance of volume and composition, because then you could eat you can reduce your food intake to very tiny. But if all of it is just fats and lipids, they call it in the nutrition world, then it's no good to you either, because they're just empty calories, right? They're just calories, but doesn't have much nutritional value. So things like fast food, things like sweets, again, it's very heavy in energy, but it has got very little else. That's why they call it empty calorie. Where if you eat food that has fat, but then also includes a lot of the other vitamins and nutrients that you need, then that's fine, because the fat is there and it gives you energy and you need it to continue your bodily function. But then you're getting all the other bits that your body needs with the fat that you're eating. So there's nothing wrong with fat, because I think your body needs it. But one thing I learned, again, in my introduction to nutrition course, is your body can store an unlimited amount of lipids. So that's why people get really fat. And then your body's actual function is supposed to store it when you need it. But because we are in a peacetime, very, what do you call it? A food abundant society now. You're never going to need those reserves ever. Yeah. Because you continuously replenish it the next day, and then you haven't actually used up all the calories. So
we can sometimes eat for entertainment and leisure, that we do things like, we've got access to not just like food, we've got also access to like fine dining with foods like voila, like extra nice, like that, words on menus that you don't even really understand.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's funny today, because one of my colleague at work, in solidarity of me fasting and because they were going out to lunch, he said to me, I'm only going to lunch with the rest because just for nourishment, I'm not going to enjoy it. Just that was a good anecdote that he mentioned to me. I don't know why he said it, but he's like, look, just for you, I'm going to go with them, but I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm only eating it to nourish myself. I'm like, okay. Technically, if you're just eating to nourish yourself, you don't really have to eat anything fancy, right? I mean, your body needs a certain food group. If you meet those, the 5 or 6 food groups now, you should be fine. And, again, you could eat them all, separately and not enjoy it. But what's the point, right? We're at the age of enjoying our food now. So,
yeah. And I think I've transitioned more into like having oats with milk, some porridge in the morning for breakfast with a cup of coffee, then having maybe like some Greek yogurt with like oat crumble crusty things that are crunchy for a lunch, and then a variety of different proteins and vegetables and stuff for dinner with kind of fruit throughout. And I've also cut back on nuts, so like almonds and cashews. I figured out I was making healthy choices, but I wasn't necessarily consuming a healthy proportion sizes.
Correct.
So it's like the difference between one handful of nuts and 5 or 7 when I get and start snacking. It's like, oh yeah, that would be really nice. Go out, grab some more, and all of a sudden 4 or 5 handfuls deep.
Yeah.
Probably had too many nuts. Even though they have a source of protein, they're also quite high in fats, and I was consuming too many, even though I had the idea in my head, oh, it's fine, they're nuts, they're healthy. But I was having too many, which was something that I realized.
Exactly. And then what I learned on the first day is very simple, if you take in more calorie than you can expend, then you're going to gain weight. And if you expend more calorie than you take in, then you're going to lose weight. It's very simple math. And that was on the first day exactly what they taught you. So, I understand, and I actually appreciate those people who count their calorie intake and stuff. I don't have the want to do that. You know what I mean? I think I have the need, but I don't have the want. So for me, it's really about just measuring a decent portion, I'd say. And don't eat till you can't eat anymore. I think your body will tell you when you've met the necessary requirement in terms of fullness, right? They call it satiation. I don't know how you
You're
pronounce
satisfied.
it.
You're full.
Yeah, satiation. I think there's a word. So you're satiated. Is what they say, I think, where you basically given your body enough where it will release chemicals to tell your brain that you've had enough and you can stop eating now. The other thing where your body feels like you're too full and you're bloated and you feel uncomfortable. Now that's no longer a chemical reaction. I think that's your stomach telling you it has enough.
Yeah.
So you don't have to get to that point. So yeah, that's basic. And also it's also important to remember, in order to expend those calories that you've taken in, you got to then do things that are beyond just your day-to-day movements, which means what? Exercise,
right? Which is really interesting. And I got slammed for not necessarily being active enough, which was something I wasn't unsurprised by with how my lifestyle has changed in the last year, with more working from home and less physical activity, kind of just less walking around post uni, that I'm much more seated, much more sedentary. So I've gone back to start playing soccer and football this year, which is exciting, with some friends. So running around a football field on Sundays and then training Tuesday nights is good, gets my legs moving, as well as thinking about doing 10,000 steps a day, because that should be like the minimum that you do. No debates, no negotiation. That like should be the base level to maintain health. Anything less, you're probably sliding backwards. And I could see from my phone data, it's like I'm probably averaging 4,000 to 6,000 a day if I'm lucky, especially when I work from home, because everything's just here. Like I'm just set up. It's like I have to be really intentional about like getting outside, going for a walk, and making sure I'm using up the energy that I'm consuming.
Yep. No, again, it's very important. And that's why I think you can make very subtle lifestyle changes, I guess, because obviously it's a marathon, not a sprint. So for me, very subtle lifestyle changes is I work on the third floor, and every single time I choose the stairs, just because. And then the good thing is the stairs is right next to the lift, so it's not like you have to make additional effort. You just got to turn left instead of turn right where the lift is. And again, it's I would call it 6 flights, right? Because it's 3 floors and each floor has 2 flights of stairs. So 6 flights of stairs and they're relatively deep stairs too. So it's good that I'm lifting my leg up quite high. My Apple Watch tells me to stand up at least once every hour for an additional amount of time, which kind of then at the moment, because I'm fasting, I don't have anywhere to go really, except going to do my prayers during the day, which is again another excuse for me to take a walk, because in my way I work currently, there is no prayer room. So I have to walk to the next building, which is about 300 meters of walking, or maybe not that far. 200 meters, I'd say, 200 meters of walking, which is good. You know, it's a 400 meter walk back and forth. And again, every time I go to the next building, which means I have to walk down and up those 6 flights of stairs. So I've made the conscious decision to just make it become a habit. So I don't actually go to the lift at all unless I'm in the middle of a conversation, right?
Yep.
A simple decision like that, I think, is going to help you. Technology is great that way it can help in terms of my Apple Watch just buzzing every time I need to stand up every hour and things like that. Yeah, that helps. I'd say the counting stuff on your phone is really good, right? Just simple things like that, I think, is going to help you. Just motivate you to kind of burn a bit more weight. I bought I think it's a Switch game called Ring Fit Adventure that kind of makes you burn some calorie, and it's actually quite intensive, to be honest, if you do the full thing. So just simple things, and then also just be mindful of your portion, like you said, right? Nuts are healthy when you have a handful. It's not healthy when you have 7 handfuls. So it's just be mindful of your portion. One thing I learned is to try to eat slower, because then you kind of feel the satiation feeling coming on, where if you eat fast and you're just trying to finish, you don't feel it. Obviously, the reaction is quite delayed.
Yeah, and that's a massive problem for me. I'm a fast eater. You've seen me like smash a lunch.
Yeah. So I think it's I guess minor changes, but I think it's going to help in a long way. Look, again, disclaimer, no expert, but this is just things that I've experienced, that I've worked. Again, I think I've worked in an office environment now for a good part of 10 years. So back when I was working on the shop floor, you know, I was getting my count. I mean, 10,000 steps I hit that by about 12 p.m. About 12 about lunchtime. So it was nothing for me. I remember increasing my daily step goal to like 20,000 just to give it a challenge because it was too easy for me, 10,000.
Yeah.
But now that I work in an office environment, yeah, you're right. 4 to 6,000 is about the average for me at the moment, which is
definitely
great. So, but look, unfortunately, we're going to have to, sort of wrap it up.
And then, so thank you for chatting about nutrition with us. Stay safe, stay healthy, and make sure you respect the government guidelines and buy from Rama and James. See you on the next episode.